So, you're great at making videos. You've got the editing down, you know how to film, you've got a schedule, but turning that passion project into an actual sustainable business, well, that's a whole different ballgame. In this explainer, we're going to lay out the blueprint for taking your channel from a creative hobby to a full-on media company. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the problem. It's so easy to pour everything you have into the video itself, the art, the story, while the business side kind of gets ignored. But if you want to build something that lasts, that ratio has to flip. It's all about making that mental shift from artist to CEO. So the big question is, how do you actually do that? It's not about making worse content, not at all. It's about building a smart, sturdy business structure around your great content. We're going to walk through it step by step in 4 distant stages. Think of it as a roadmap from your very first video to a real enterprise. All right, first things first, before you even think about making money, you have to build a solid foundation. I mean, if no one can find your videos, you don't really have an audience, let alone a business. So stage 1 is all about getting discovered and attracting the right kind of viewers from the get-go. Look, if people can't find your videos, they can't watch them. It's really that simple. That's why mastering YouTube's search engine is an absolute non-negotiable. Your title needs to grab them, the description tells the algorithm what your video is about, and that thumbnail, it has to scream, "Click me." A consistent schedule ties it all together, training both YouTube and your viewers to know when to expect new stuff from you. When you're just starting out, it's so tempting to chase those big subscriber numbers. But honestly, a small, super engaged niche audience is way, way more valuable. A brand that sells specialty coffee gear would much rather work with a channel of 1,000 coffee fanatics than a channel with 50,000 random viewers. It's all about that audience fit. That's what gets you paid early on. And that leads us right into your first and most accessible income stream, affiliate marketing. The best part is you don't even need to be in the YouTube Partner Program to do this. All you need is that audience that trusts you. You recommend a product, share a special link, and if they buy, you get a cut. It's a win-win, and it proves to brands that your audience actually listens to you. Okay, so you've built that foundation, you've got some affiliate money trickling in, now it's time for the big one, getting paid directly by YouTube. Stage 2 is all about hitting that huge milestone, getting into the YouTube Partner Program and earning your first official paycheck from the platform. Now, the rules for joining the Partner Program have actually changed, which is great news for smaller creators. There are 2 tiers now. At just 500 subs, you can get early access. This doesn't turn on ads, but it unlocks something called fun funding. Then, once you hit the classic 1,000 subscriber mark, that's when you unlock the ability to run ads and get full monetization. So what is this fan funding thing? It's basically a bunch of tools that let your biggest fans support you directly. We're talking channel memberships for exclusive perks, super chats to stand out in a live stream, or super thanks to tip you on a video they loved. It's a direct line between you and your community. And here's why this is such a game changer. For all of that fan funding money, you, the creator, get to keep 70%. That is a huge slice of the pie, way better than the standard 55% you get from ads. This really pushes you to build a strong community because a loyal fan is worth more, especially in the beginning. All right, you made it. The ad revenue is finally starting to flow in. But now, it's not just about making money, it's about understanding it. To run a real business, you have to know how to read the numbers and figure out what's actually driving your profit. You're going to see 2 terms thrown around all the time, CPM and RPM. It is absolutely crucial you know the difference. CPM is what advertisers pay YouTube. It's their number. RPM? That's your number. That's what you actually earn in your pocket for every 1,000 views after YouTube takes its cut. So when you're budgeting, RPM is the only metric that matters. But your RPM isn't a fixed number. And one of the biggest things that affects it is your niche. It makes sense, right? Advertisers will pay way more to reach people interested in finance or technology than, say, a general gaming audience, because those viewers have more purchasing power. The audience you build directly impacts your paycheck. And just as important as what your audience is interested in is where they're watching from. Advertisers will pay a whole lot more to reach viewers in countries like Australia or the United States. So an American viewer can literally be worth 10 times more in ad revenue than a viewer from another region. It's a huge factor. And finally, you have to understand that your income will go up and down in a predictable cycle every single year. Quarter 4, with all the holiday shopping, is like the gold rush. Ad rates go through the roof. But then comes January, and everything crashes. Revenue can drop by 30% or more. Knowing this cycle is key to managing your cash flow like a real business. So at this point, you understand your revenue, you know the metrics. The final stage is about thinking even bigger. It's about moving beyond just being a YouTuber and building a diversified, rock-solid media business that isn't totally dependent on the platform. Sponsorships are usually that next big step, but if you want to land those serious brand deals, you have to act like a professional. That means putting together a media kit. It's basically a resume for your channel. It shows off your stats, who your audience is, and proves you're a serious partner, not just some kid with a camera. And if you want the ultimate playbook for how to scale, you have to look at Mr. Beast. His whole philosophy is beautifully simple. Reinvest everything. He treats his videos like incredibly expensive commercials that also happen to go viral. Every single dollar he makes goes back into making the next video even bigger and more insane. But here is the absolute genius of it. All that attention isn't just for getting more views. It's the launchpad for his other businesses. That massive video engine is what allowed his candy brand, Feastables, to make a mind-blowing $215 million in revenue. And it's not a one-time thing. His merch line? That pulled in $65 million in just its first 6 months. You see, the YouTube channel is just the marketing department for a huge consumer products company. At that level, YouTube ad revenue is practically pocket change. Now, making all this money is great, but keeping it, that's another story. And this is where that shift from a hobby to a business becomes a legal and financial must. If you're a hobby, you pay taxes on every single dollar that comes in. But as a real business, you only pay taxes on your profit. That's your income minus all your legitimate business expenses. So what counts as an expense? Well, basically all the stuff you use to run your channel. That new camera, your editing software subscription, the portion of your rent you use for your home office, fees you pay to an editor, all of it can be legally deducted. That lowers your taxable income and can save you a ton of money. So when you boil it all down, building a successful business on YouTube isn't about luck. It's about being intentional. It's about mastering the system, understanding your numbers, and running it like a real company. So that brings us to the last big question for you to think about. What part of your business, your bookkeeping, your long-term strategy, your financial planning, are you still treating like a hobby? And what's one step you can take today to start acting like the CEO?